All right, let's dive into a classic economic model today, the Harrod-Domar model. Now, it tries to answer a question that sounds super simple but is actually incredibly complex. Why can't economies just grow smoothly? Why is that stable, predictable growth so hard to find? Let's get into it. So, to really get a handle on this model, you first have to appreciate the big puzzle it was designed to solve. And this isn't some abstract academic question. It pretty much defines the rhythm of our economic lives. I mean, just think about it. We see economies boom, there's a ton of activity, and then they slow down, or sometimes they even shrink. These cycles, these ups and downs, they just feel like a permanent part of life. But why? Why can't we just have a nice, smooth, upward path?
Okay, so this is where our main characters come in. Economists R.F. Harrod and E.D. Domar. And what's really cool is that they were working separately but came to almost the exact same conclusions. So similar, in fact, that we now just talk about their work as one single idea, the Harrod-Domar model, which tried to pin down the mathematical formula for stable growth.
The absolute heart of their model, the big breakthrough idea, is that investment isn't just one thing. Nope, it's a double-edged sword. It has this powerful dual nature.
So what's this dual personality all about? Well, the model sees investment as hitting both demand and supply. See, every time a business builds a new factory, it does two things. It creates income and demand right now, and it increases the ability to produce more stuff tomorrow. And keeping those two effects in balance, that's the whole ballgame. And what's so elegant about this is how it pulls together two major, often competing schools of economic thought. From the Keynesian perspective, building that factory puts money into workers' pockets, which creates immediate demand. But from the classical view, that very same factory boosts our future ability to produce, which increases supply. So the crucial point is this: for the whole economy to grow without flying off the rails, the new demand you create today has to be just the right amount to buy all the new stuff you can supply tomorrow. If they don't move together, in lockstep, you've got a big problem.
And that leads us to the model's central idea, the notion that there's this single perfect growth rate, a Goldilocks speed, you could say. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right for the economy.
This is really the million-dollar question the model tries to answer. If there is a perfect growth rate out there, how in the world do we find it?
The model actually gives us three different growth rates to think about. First, you've got the actual rate, G. That's simple. It's how fast the economy is really growing. Then there's the natural rate, GN, which is like the economy's absolute speed limit, set by things like population growth. But the real star of our story is the third one, the warranted growth rate.
This warranted rate, GRU, is that theoretical sweet spot. It's the full capacity growth rate, where businesses are perfectly happy with their investments because demand is exactly matching their new ability to produce. It is, in a word, perfect equilibrium. So the ultimate goal, the dream scenario, is to get the actual growth rate G to line up perfectly with this ideal warranted rate GW. When G equals GW, you've hit what the model calls dynamic equilibrium. The economy is on a stable, happy path. But what if it isn't?
And this is where the model gets really famous and really dramatic, because it turns out the path of stable growth isn't some wide, forgiving highway. It is a razor-thin line.
This brings us to the model's famous knife-edge problem, and it's a huge deal. It argues that if the actual growth rate strays from the warranted rate, even just a little bit, the economy doesn't just fix itself. No, it spirals, completely out of control. Okay, here's how that works. If actual growth is faster than that perfect warranted rate, demand starts to outrun supply. Businesses get super optimistic, they invest even more, and the whole thing overheats into runaway inflation. On the flip side, if growth is slower, then supply starts piling up on shelves. Businesses get pessimistic, they cut back, and the economy spirals downward into recession and deflation. And this is the real kicker. In the world of Harrod-Domar, there's no invisible hand that gently guides the economy back to that stable path. Any little push off the knife's edge just sends it tumbling further and further away, making the original problem worse and worse. So let's pull all of this together. What is the model's powerful and maybe a little unsettling final message about economic growth? The big takeaway here is that while steady growth is possible in theory, it is incredibly fragile. It all depends on this perfect knife-edge balance of savings, investment, and what everyone expects to happen.
Now, of course, this is a simplified model. It doesn't have government or international trade, but its main lesson about just how insanely difficult it is to coordinate a whole economy is still really powerful.
In the end, this is really the perfect way to think about it. The model's message is that economic growth isn't some leisurely stroll down a golden path. It's a high-wire act. It's a constant, precarious balancing act where falling off has really serious consequences.
And that leads us with a fascinating final question, doesn't it? If this model is even partly right, then what forces in our real world, government policies, central banks, new technology, what acts as the safety net? What keeps our economies from constantly toppling off this tightrope? Well, that is the puzzle that economists are still trying to solve today.